together and by association.
Family.
Faith, service, community.
Teaching.
Inclusive education.
Mission-driven.
From a small seed, a great tree has blossomed in the world. From humble beginnings, this community of brothers that John Baptist de La Salle established has become a movement in our times.
For 340 years, the legacy of St. John Baptist de La Salle, our founder, has lived on through a charism that animates all who participate in the Lasallian educational enterprise. While the core of that tradition has remained constant over those 340 years, its lived reality has not, as the tradition remains flexible to the ever-changing needs of students in 79 countries around the world. Indeed, de La Salle never would have imagined Salle University as it currently sits at 20th and Olney.
De La Salle never had a vision of the brothers being in higher education. Right? Higher education is kind of the new baby on the block, right? Only emerging in the mid-19th century with the founding of Manhattan College, the founding of what was originally an agricultural school in Beauvais, France, now a very prominent university with 3 campuses. It's called Uni LaSalle, and us. The 3 of us, Manhattan, Uni LaSalle, Beauvais, France, and LaSalle, Philadelphia, we are the beginnings of Lasallian higher education.
Nevertheless, our Lasallian tradition, over 3 centuries in the making, remains alive and well on the campus of LaSalle University. This is our story, spoken by the very men and women who live the reality of our tradition each and every day.
A little over a year ago, we had an opportunity, Lynn, Texter, Anna, Alan, and I, to go to Stanford to talk about life design. And each of the groups, there were institutions from all around the world at this particular event, were asked to talk about their university. And it was really interesting how some universities did like football cheers or other things. And Lynn and Anna and I stood in front of the group and said, hey, we are at the school that invented teaching as you know it. That, you know what, prior to St. John Baptist de La Salle, education was only for the rich. Well, the fact that all of us are sitting here talking about reaching our middle class and working class students has to do directly with St. John Baptist de La Salle. Up to St. John Baptist de La Salle, education was always done in the tutoring session of 1-to-1. St. John Baptist de La Salle invented the classroom. Up until St. John Baptist de La Salle, education was always in Greek or Latin. The fact that we teach our students in an everyday vernacular has to do with St. John Baptist de La Salle. And it was really funny when we did this because everybody in the room was like, oh my God, I didn't know any of this. Oh my God, you guys have a sense of mission that none of us have. And I think that's really part of the Lasallian Charism too, is that sense of mission. It's not hard to understand. It's really easy to understand, and you either share it or you don't.
The Lasallian classroom is not only in, sitting there in Holroyd Hall, but it is also on the basketball court and in the pool and on the quad and in our live trips in Kentucky and in the neighborhoods around us where we are working in schools with some of the neighborhood children and doing tutoring programs. Like the whole idea of the Lasallian classroom is it is everywhere. And our students become partners in that work in the extent that they reach out beyond the boundaries of our campus as Lasallian educators themselves. So I think it's fair to say that especially when we were physically together in the pre-COVID times, you could really see that happening because you were having those conversations and really feeling that people care deeply about you. Not everybody, and not every conversation. And sometimes someone's having a bad day or you're having a bad day and it's just not a good conversation. But I have witnessed conversations since I've been at LaSalle that are not what you would think of as traditionally educational teaching conversations, but where there's no question in my mind that our student came away with a very different perspective on something. That is what is the special sauce, if you will, of a Lasallian campus, and especially in particular the way that we have taken that to heart at Salle University for almost 160 years.
We have 5 Lasallian values, right? The first one, faith and the presence of God, pointing up towards God. Peace for all people, peace sign. Quality education, ABC, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Social justice for all. And then 5 is inclusive community, and it wraps it all together.
We are called to be of service to each other and to the people in our surrounding community. Being of service to each other means being willing to help each other as students in a classroom setting, being able to support each other through this educational journey and the difficult experience that sometimes college life can be. And we're also called to be people who are attentive to other people's needs. So not only do we have to worry about improving our own educational experience, developing ourselves, preparing for our professional careers, but we also need to be willing to give back, give time to other people, maybe students that are younger in their college experience or people that are in high school that we can potentially tutor. I think trying to find ways to help other people succeed is another important way that we're able to, is how we're called to be in the world. And there are things that we need to take into consideration as Lasallians.
Association, this central feature, this driving force in our Lasallian world, was born in crisis. LaSalle University itself has had critical moments of crisis before and now. But let's go to our beginnings as an institution. 1863, born, the college emerges in the midst of the Civil War. And then there are various economic crises that the university had to overcome, most especially the Great Depression. And so we, as the founder would have it, must trust in God's providence, in God's goodness and mercy for us to withstand the winds and the flames that are the pandemic.
I think if John Baptist de La Salle walked down Albany Avenue, he would be right with us. He would be in with us and say, come on, let's get this done.